Happy New Year, everybody. This is our first episode of the year, Cafecito Power Hour with United Latinas. Hope you guys are doing well and having an amazing time. This is our break. Joe and I were just talking about we're coming from meetings and we're going to meetings. So this is our Cafecito break to just digest, get to know Joa a little bit better, share her with the world, and just digest the day and enjoy and make sure that we're taking time and taking a break to just really reset, right? Because we don't want to burn out, right? We definitely don't want to burn out. So before we start and introduce Joa, I want to make sure that you guys are registered for our upcoming events. January 19th is our next Latina leadership meeting. It is going to be amazing. So make sure that you are joining us for that. Después de eso, we have January 24th, Building Your Power series. It's going to be manifesting the things in your vision board with Priscilla Guaso from Latinas Rising Up in HR. So we're excited for that. And then if you don't have already saved the date, make sure you save the date for 3/23/23. That is our Women's Month conference, which is going to be awesome. And, yeah, I'm excited. And now I want to introduce Joa to the scene. Joa is a United Latinas member. Joa, introduce yourself. Welcome.
Yes. Hi, Sandra. Hi, everybody. I'm very excited about all those dates. I already had it on my calendar and I'm planning to attend them because I am very excited for everything that United Latinas offers as a member. My name is Joa Tudela. I am the founder of Culturalizing Access. I help businesses reach the Latino and limited English proficient communities through language access. So I help them implement language services in order to appreciate the culture and service and offer services in the community's preferred language.
Yeah, that is so amazing. Sometimes we don't think about that, right? We leave it up to people and themselves. And what a great business structure, really, to help organizations help their employees so that they could help them, right? It is a full circle. Everybody feels that sense of belonging, right? That sense of belonging overall.
Yeah,
So I saw,
it's
yeah.
not just the law that requires you to offer language services, translation and
Oh,
interpreting, but it's also good business. If you really want to reach Latinos, 30% of Latinos speak Spanish only or prefer Spanish, and 40% of Latinos are bilingual, so they prefer information in both languages. So if you are not offering services in Spanish and other languages, you're just not growing as much as you could be.
yeah. I didn't know that that was law. So I'm sure that there are companies practicing without, or is that something that it's critical that they get checked up on these organizations to make sure that they're implementing this, or?
Yeah, so especially when it comes to healthcare, anything that goes under the ACA and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, it requires you to provide services in the community's preferred language. So language should really not be a barrier. So the thing is that the law is not very specific on how much or how. It's just kind of do your best effort. So that's where a lot of places kind of fall into the cracks. It's more of a let me just do what I can until something happens. And then you're like, oh no, now I have to really sit down and do something. So it is the law, but it's not so strict or enforced as I would like it to be. So yeah, that's why I'm trying to help, organizations to, see where they fall and where they can, improve those services.
Absolutely. What are the best types of organizations that you are looking to connect with and feel that this is where you can really add value to them?
I mean, I normally work with any size. I can work with small businesses just with translation of their websites and things very small, like making sure their images and their content are culturally relevant and include Latinos and other BIPOC communities. When it comes to a larger scale, I work with, healthcare, financial, legal institutions, and even education institutions, because if you have a community and you're serving LEPs, limited English proficient communities, you should be offering the services. So there's really not a too small or too big of a company that should be providing the services.
Wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. So I read on your website, it said you are Luso Americana.
Yes.
Luso America. Tell us what that is.
So I am originally from Portugal. I was born in Portugal. That's where my family is from. But then I moved to Venezuela when I was 2 years old, and I was there until I finished high school. So I am Latina because I grew up in Venezuela, and I consider myself, as Latina as an arepa. I 100% Latina, but technically I am Portuguese, and then I'm American now. I've been here for 17 years. So Luso comes from Portuguese. So I'm a Portuguese American Latina.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So what your big cause? What is it? Why did you start culturalizing access?
So I moved here to the US right when I was 18, right out of high school. I didn't know any English, so I was an LEP. I just dropped in Wisconsin as an exchange student. The only person around me that spoke Spanish was me. So I was pretty much forced to, learn English, but also figure out everything by myself. A few years later, like 6 years later, my sister came. So I already had a little bit more of a handle. So I helped her, get her things set, get her, her phone and get a credit card and all these things. And things kept progressing that way until my mom got here 3 years ago. And I was like, I got you. You need this. I know how to do this. You need this. I'll get you on this. So I'm always like helping her on that, and that kind of started like some idea in the back of my head. Is like a lot of immigrants don't have that. They don't have somebody
Right.
to support them and guide them. But then what really got me into, I need to focus on businesses instead of directly with the Latino community, which I do as part of the business. But the main focus, the mission, is help organizations because they serve other immigrants and Latinos, so they will have a bigger reach. It was because I took my mom to the hospital 2 years ago, and she had to do a PET scan. And when I was in the changing room with her, there was a sign there that said, if you have an antimicrobial or anti smell or any special underwear, let us know because you can get burned. And that note was only in English. And I was like, okay, so what would have happened if my mom had that, right? And she didn't know. And then she went to get her scan done, and then she would have got burned. So, I talked to the hospital. I was like, this note should not just be in English when, we're in New Jersey. We're so diverse. There's so many Latinos, not to mention other languages. Why are you not providing this critical information in Spanish? So you're kind of just waiting for somebody to, get hurt, get burned, and then sue you. And then you're going to put a note there saying, let me know if you have this type of underwear. So that really like it got me really upset. And I was like, no, this is not okay. And I have a background in translation and interpreting. I have a master's in translation and interpreting studies from Wake Forest. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, this is the law. You can't just do this. So, I wrote a letter to the hospital and all these things, and they're somewhat improving it. But that's where I was like, no, something needs to change. And I'm going to be the one helping these changes to happen. So, yeah, that's how culturalizing access started. So my mom wouldn't get burned.
That is an amazing story. I love that story, and I love that you're from in New Jersey now. So,
Yes.
but how? But that's the reason. I mean, like it came out of a need and a necessity, and I think that that is beautiful and profound. And I think more organizations, which it's funny, we don't see that actively being practiced openly. I guess so I know that there is, there are a lot of organizations that need to really understand that it's the law and really, I'm sure some don't even, know particularly. I don't know. I'm pretty sure some don't know.
And I think
Um,
the problem is not necessarily they don't know that is the law, because I'm sure, they have like all this
they
federal,
don't care.
all these people. They just don't know how simple it can be. It sounds like it's very
Mm,
overwhelming. It's like, okay, I have to translate all of it. I have to have interpreters. Like, how am I going to do that? Especially when it comes to, nonprofits or smaller businesses. And what
yep.
I'm trying to help in a way is that, I have 8 simple steps. So first, we just assess what your need is, because it really depends. And then we look at what you already have. You already have bilinguals. working for you, or you need to
Yep.
just hire them. And then I don't personally offer interpreting services. That's not my goal, but I help businesses find the best match. So either that be testing their bilingual speakers to make sure that they have the level of, in this case, Spanish, because that's another thing. People just think like, oh, I'll just grab whoever speaks Spanish and they can just come here and do some customer service. And I'm like, no,
I'm
you're
sure many people could relate to that. Like
exactly.
many Latinas are like, oh yeah, I was the one they called when they needed a
Exactly. And
service.
it's like, you and I can have a conversation in English like we're just now, but can we talk about astrophysics? Can we sit down here and talk about biochemistry? Of course not.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
know the terminology. You need to know what's going on in both languages. It's not even
Yep.
enough for you to be a nurse, graduated in a school in English. If you don't know medical terminology in Spanish, you can't provide those services in Spanish because you don't know them. And it's a liability.
Yep.
So I help them do that, or figure out, maybe you need to have a full-time interpreter, maybe it's a part-time, maybe it's finding an agency that you can just have them on call. So, once a month when that French Creole client comes, you have somewhere to communicate with them and you're not losing that business. And, just finding strategies that it will work for any budget and any company, so them can really, get to the market. And, we're talking about Latinos, like, if you're not offering your services to us, you are missing out. I was just on a talk yesterday and I was saying, Latinos have a $1.6 trillion buying power in this country. That's a
Yeah.
lot of money. So if you're
Yeah.
not targeting at us, you're not reaching to us, you're not selling to us, that's a lot of money you're missing. Like,
Absolutely.
we're strong.
Yeah. And we're only growing, so that's,
Like,
it's critical. We live to, America has become the melting pot, I mean, it always has been, it's always been known for that, but it really is, meaning it's not just it, because although that was the term, right? Everybody's, well, we have all different races, but still the main language and the primary language is always English. So I think how it's becoming is we need to be masters of two language. We need to know how to communicate in at minimum two language, right? Minimum. And Spanish is that second common most language here. So if we are not even understanding it ourselves, and then not making sure that we're creating collateral and material out there for the community in our offering, and for our employees inside, to make sure that they fully understand English, because it goes both ways. And I think that is just where we're at right today. So I think that is amazing. And I'm happy to have you as a UL member, because that is amazing. I think that there are great opportunities, and as we grow, so much, so many organizations need to be aware of a lot of these things, and we just got to talk about it more, right?
yeah.
That's the thing. We just got to put it out there.
And we need to be a little
um
more competitive as Americans. Yes, the whole world it's set to understand English, but we're really very monolingual when it comes to the rest of the world. Like, my family's from Europe, so my cousins and my brothers that live there, they speak 5 languages. They speak 4 languages. I'm like the the loser one that only speaks 3, right? And then he's like, "Oh my god, you speak 3 languages," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, don't tell that to my family, because they're like, why are you not speaking French too and German and all these things? Because that's just what they do." So
yeah,
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 when we look outside of the U.S., it's a global, globalization is here, so we have to be competitive as well.
absolutely. Absolutely. I know. I know like 3 lines in Japanese. I know a couple. I know how to get through in French for the main important things. And I think that that's our thirst, right? When I meet people that say, "Oh, I know 5 languages," I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so amazing." I would love to learn 5 language. I tried to learn Japanese fully, but that is a hard one to learn.
Yeah,
But it's possible. I just got to put in the work, right? If I really want it. So we'll
yeah.
see.
My goal is my goal is to learn sign language, because I feel like it's so needed, and it's very interesting. But I always wanted to
Yeah.
learn French, so those are my 2 languages. Hopefully, by the time I'm 40 or something.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Awesome. It has been a pleasure to have you here for our Cafecito Power Break. I'm so excited to have you as a member, and all the collabs that we're going to be doing together going forward. For those of you, just a reminder for our next event, we have the next leadership meeting is January 19th. I know we have a good amount of registration so far. If you haven't registered, make sure that you register for that event, January 24th. for Manifest Your Vision Board, which you want to learn how to manifest the things in your vision board. And I think this is going to be a great, fun, and interactive workshop for us. And then we got some already coming for February. We'll post those shortly, and then make sure you save 32323. And if you're looking for United Latinas merch, visit our shop and support some of our members and some of our merch. It's unitedlatinas.com/shop, or the buttons right there on the front page. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Take some time to have a break, enjoy, connect, and just breathe, right? And then get to work.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for having me. And just connect through LinkedIn and let's get the conversation started.
Absolutely. All right, guys. And you know what? For your company information, I think I have it already, but we'll add it to YouTube. So your links, we'll put all your links también in the YouTube description of this video. So make sure everything is all in there. All right, guys. Take care. Have a blessed day and rock on. Bye-bye.